Namaste. My name is Todd Norian, and I'm the founder of Ashaya Yoga. Really nice to see you and to be with you here today. I want to talk today about meditation. Meditation is a gift from the gods. I was thinking, how could that be true? It's a way that we actually interrupt the normal patterning of the mind, which usually has no space in it. That helps us shift from an instinctive survival mechanism to be able to have consciousness, to think ahead, to be able to see the impacts of what we say, how we say it, and the impacts of our actions that give us enough time to choose freely whether we actually say that thing that we're thinking of saying, or do that thing that could potentially be hurtful to others. And I think we've all gotten defensive before. Have you been defensive ever in your life? And what we see is that act of being defensive is a protection for the tenderness of the heart. Everybody has a tender heart. That's the nature of the heart. And so, of course, we want to protect it. And when we never examine our defensiveness, the layers of protection build up over time. I call that heart armoring, until we feel like we're living inside of this cage, a prison inside the heart, where we're safe, feel anything, where we don't let energy in, but we also don't let energy out. So it's kind of a double bind, that if we don't allow ourselves to release this armoring around the heart, then we miss out on this opportunity to deeply connect with people and have a clear communication that's healing, satisfying, that helps us speak and be heard and helps us hear others. Everyone has a longing for freedom from suffering. And meditation is one of those skills. It's like an art. That's why I call it a gift from the gods. It's a skill, it's an art that puts a wedge in between this already always habitual response and habitual way of living that, if we look closely, is not satisfying at all. If we're living inside of ourselves in a state of constant defending ourselves, a constant looking for what's wrong with life and protecting ourselves against it, we're missing a whole world of beauty, a world of meaning, a world of peace, a world where we actually feel like there's this possibility to be free, to not just have a life that's riveted with suffering all the time and then you die. It's like we learn in yoga how to actually rise up when challenges come. In a way, that's our way to protect our freedom. We need the freedom to choose. So how does this work? Well, in the back brain, which is our limbic brain, or the brain stem, it's packed with our evolutionary urge to survive. And it's relentless. It doesn't need any consciousness. It's a knee-jerk automatic reaction that, hey, if there's danger, you're going to get out of there, or you're going to protect or defend, or you're going to get out of the way. And what meditation does is, as this instinct moves from the back brain to the forebrain, which is our prefrontal cortex, our consciousness, our capacity to think, is that meditation puts a wedge in there. It interrupts that process and allows a space. In that space, I call it the space of grace. It's a highly auspicious space where, in that space, we enter a threshold where there's a world of beauty, a world of peace, a world of serenity, a world of everything is okay. There's a well-being. There's an okayness about everything the way that it is. And in that space, we get to see. And when you see, you choose. If you don't see, you can't choose, because now you're in the already always automatic response mode. That's where our freedom lies, to be able to interrupt that process, to create a little space inside where we can go inside. I'll do it in slow motion. I feel psychically attacked. I've been insulted by my best friend, or by my family member, or by my spouse. I feel a burning sensation of rage. I would like to attack that person. This is all in slow-mo. These are all the bubbles. And then we get to say, yes, but if I get defensive, I might hurt that person, and then I'll feel guilty, or something bad could happen. So it gives us a space to consider our actions, to predict the outcome before it happens. And it's just a prediction. We don't know for sure. We can pretty much guess that if you burst out with anger towards someone, they're going to give it back. They're going to give it back to you. Like, it's not going to end well. Or if you hurt someone, then they go into the same process. They close. They defend. Now your communication is completely cut off, because you're defending your tender heart and they're defending their tender heart. Now you've got a war. So we get into this space where we can see. You see, you choose. You know see, you know choose. So when we can be in that space, everything slows down. We interrupt the pattern. I like to call it intervening with this process, that we can make a better choice. And when we make that better choice, which sometimes is say nothing until I cool down, then you're protecting the relationships that you value. And you're able to then come back and make a more calm or conscious communication that gets you more of what it is that you truly want, which is freedom. So that's part of the process. Now in Ashaya Yoga, we know this is a yoga of body, mind, heart. We have the Ashaya technique and method for the body. We have the 3 A's for the heart, like keeping the heart clear: awareness, acceptance, action. And then for the mind, what do? We have meditation. I want to tell you about a very high level, deep, highly effective form of meditation called Niloconta Meditation, which is part of the Blue Throat Yoga tradition, of which I'm part of. And it's a form of mantra meditation that comes to us from a long tradition and a long lineage of teachers and seekers and all that. And it's a special form of meditation. I'm going to be giving an initiation into Niloconta Meditation on February 6th and 7th. You can go to my website, ashayayoga.com, and click on the Ashaya path. You'll see at the bottom there in the menu, Niloconta Meditation. You can click that. There's a video of me talking about it. I go in much depth and detail about it. But all you really need to know for right now is that this initiation is a way of receiving a mantra that comes through a ritual that gives the mantra power. And it's an exchange of energy. We call it Shaktipata Hridaye. Now Shakti is the life force energy. Shaktipata means the descent of the life force, this heart awakening energy, Hridaye, into the open heart of the seeker. And it's a way of receiving a mantra that has a lot of juice in it. It's like it has a potency in it. It's different than just getting a mantra off the internet or from a book. I mean, those work too. In fact, in the Pillars of Peace, and all the other workshops that I do where I give mantras, I'm giving sort of public domain mantras, which are very, very potent. But I'm talking about those that really want to get free and to be initiated into a practice where there's a whole community of practitioners, and there's sort of like a structure for how and when to do the practice. It's very, very wonderful. And then I have my own little community of Niloconta meditators, and we meet once a month. We have a meditation group. So there's a whole community support that comes with this. So I'm mentioning it because I only do a few initiations a year. And the one coming up on February 6th and 7th is very simple to do. It's not that much time. Their space is open. So if you are interested, please check out the website. And I hope this was helpful to you, just around like why even meditate? Like what is the heart awakening component of this meditation? And how does it benefit our lives? Like I said, I think meditation is a gift from the gods. It's the yoga of the mind. How to intervene with this natural, already instilled patterns of, I wouldn't say conscious behavior, it's more like destructive protectionism that we all do to protect the tenderness of the heart. It's good when we need to have a strong boundary, but when there's no danger, we go into a pattern of defensiveness. That's when it really gets in the way. I like to think about empathy, where we want to develop this capacity to communicate well and to actually feel another's pain without getting swept into their pain. I think a lot of the burden that we carry around is not ours. We somehow have empathy, and then we bleed ourselves into the other person. We start taking on their burden or their pain and suffering. So I'd like to talk about empathy with boundary, that we know what we're responsible for. The boundary helps us stay in our own lane and not take on more than what our portion of it is. And in that sense, you have to have the awareness to stop that pattern of having so much empathy. We give ourselves away completely, and then we end up hurting when the pain that we're feeling is not ours. So that's another benefit of the meditation practice. Remember, we want to intervene, create a space such that we can see and then choose. We always want to choose a higher way of communicating, a more holistic way of communicating, and a way of being in our lives and in our relationships that is mutually empowering, that brings a sense of ease, a sense of like to disarmor the other person, to make our external world start to reflect more of that internal process. Remember that threshold that opens up when that space is there, that's filled with a world of beauty, peace, and serenity, and also righteousness and love and light and a sense of conscious evolution. That's what meditation brings. Conscious evolution. It speeds it up. So I hope you'll join me. Thanks for your time. Thanks for listening. From my heart to yours. Namaste.